New Gulf Coast High DC Paul Rhoads talks about new jobs, Auburn and changing college games. The big names keep coming to Gulf Shores. Last week, Paul Rhoads was officially approved as the new defensive coordinator at Gulf Shores High School, joining head coach Mark Hudspeth and offensive coordinator Kenny Edenfield. All three have extensive college coaching experience. Rhoads spent the 2021 season as an analyst at Ohio State. His other college stops include being defensive coordinator at Auburn in 2008 and head coach at Iowa State from 2009 to 2015. Rhoads joined Inside High School Sports on Sports Talk 99.5 in mobile on Wednesday to talk about his new job, the changing landscape of the college game and his time at Auburn. How did you get from all the things you've accomplished in college football to joining the staff at Gulf Shores High? It's been a pretty fast journey. I got word that a position was open and reached out to Coach Hud. We started communicating and learning about what the job entailed. I immediately got very excited and got down to visit a couple of weeks ago. We've been to the area a number of times, so we knew the area, but wanted to get down and learn more about the school and the program. We fell in love with what we saw and are excited to get started. Did you have a strong connection with Coach Mark Hudspeth prior to this? Just professionally. We've never worked together, never really even recruited against each other. I certainly knew of him and his success as a head football coach. It's a small world in our profession. Not too many people don't know each other in our profession or are connected somehow. Both of us did our research. We are excited to start working together. Were you looking for a change? How did you come across this position? Looking for a change would be a fair and accurate statement. I've been at the Division I level for 33 straight years and have had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of challenges, accomplished a lot of goals. After the pandemic season of 2020, when jobs were a little more scarce than they usually are, I took a job as an analyst at Ohio State this past season. It slowed down from what I'd been doing the past 32 years. I didn't have as much recruiting, didn't have as much responsibility and day-to-day stress. As I looked to secure another full-time job this year, there wasn't anything that was really piquing my interest. Then I saw this opportunity, and I got to thinking about it. With what's going on in college football today with the transfer portal and NIL, there has just been a lot of change, quite candidly. A chance to get back to coaching as its purest form at the high school level is something that excited me. The way Coach Hud is running his program is something that is very much Division I, collegiate-like. So, continuing to do it in a manner I'm used to with great kids in a great community is how all this transition and process came to a conclusion. In going from college to high school coaching, do you see any differences in how you will have to attack it style-wise? He'll be the same coach I've always been as far as passion and intensity and teaching and building relationships. All of that won't change. I think I have a lot to learn. He'll be very honest about that the whole way through. He'll lean on Coach Hud. He'll lean on Coach Kenny when I get there. Those are guys who have come from the collegiate ranks and made the transition. I've got a feeling we will probably do less in terms of how much defense, and that's okay. There will still be plenty, but we will figure what we have to defend, how we have to defend it, what kind of personnel we have, and put together an outstanding package. Do you anticipate more or less time with your actual players on the high school level? What do you think about the differences in terms of putting stuff on a high school player vs a college player? I think the way Coach Hud runs his program, we will have a great deal of exposure to our student athletes. We should have the ability to get things taught, to get things walked, then to get them out there and practice at full speed. I don't worry about having enough preparation time with them. You don't want to do too much if you don't need to do too much. I've often felt that at the college level, just because we have more time on our hands and more ideas, it's not necessarily better. You need some zone, you need some man, you need some pressure, and our intention will be to have enough of those things to give offenses problems and provide the Dolphins an opportunity for success. In your time at Auburn, did you get a good feeling for the high school talent in the state of Alabama? I covered quite a bit of it. In that year under Coach Tuberville, we actually changed the recruiting philosophy a little bit in that the coordinators, at the time, did not have a specific geographical area and recruited all the defensive kids. If we were on a defensive kid, I was involved, and wherever he was located I would go visit and spend time with him. Certainly, that involved a lot of the state of Alabama. It's a talent-rich state. It's a state that is full of great high school coaches and great high school programs, and I'm looking forward to matching wits and being a part of it. Can you talk a little bit about the changing landscape of college coaching from just 2 or 3 years ago? The task today is as much recruiting your own roster as it is the kids outside your program you are trying to bring in, and that's not healthy. When kids aren't happy with playing time or pleased with the relationship, or they encounter some adversity, there is somewhat of a knee-jerk reaction today in college football that they'll just jump in the portal and go find somewhere else to play. When I was a young coach back in 1991, a coach had on his desk a picture of a bunch of single cows on different sides of the fence. At the bottom, it said the grass isn't always greener. I think a lot of kids are encountering that as they go into the portal. The sheer number of kids that have gone into it are not going to end up at the same level of program or even match what they went into the portal for. It's not healthy for our game. I understand how it started. I understand the why, but it's not going as planned. Feel continue to look at it and try to tweak it, but you can't put that toothpaste back in the tube. A couple of years ago, you weren't dealing with that. If a kid had adversity, you would work with him and figure out what needed to be done to play better, and you work together on that. There is not as much of that taking place. When that happens, you start doing less teaching, less coaching of the game, and that is not good for the sport. I think that shows up on Saturdays in tackling and fitting blocks and setting edges and so forth on the other side of the ball. I know you are pretty far removed from your time at Auburn, but this week you've had Coach Hassan saying you have to be the head coach and let the head coach run the program. I wonder if you followed that at all and what you make of that situation. I agree with him. Auburn is a unique place. It's a fantastic place. We truly enjoyed living there in 2008 and coaching those kids. They loved playing ball. They loved being coached. It's a unique place in that they want to compete for national championships on a year-in, year-out basis, and when things aren't quite up to snuff in that regard, people react. That's not always healthy for a program, but it's not unique in that all across the country you are not given a lot of time now. At the collegiate level, if you are recruiting those kids and developing those kids, you need a little time. When you change over from one coach to another, that's a lot of change. People use the word culture all the time. The coaches try to establish their culture. That could be different disciplines, different weight room routine, different speed routines, definitely different schemes. That doesn't happen overnight in the sport of football when you are dealing with 130 players on the roster. Have you moved to the beach yet? I have my motorhome behind my townhouse right now. I'm loading it up and getting ready to head south Friday morning.